Hey guys, today's just going to be a really quick video. I'm going to be demoing how to use the MimiSilk Iris 1450nm laser on the neck. I've gotten quite a few requests for this video, so I just wanted to kind of sit down and get it out of the way. It also happens to be a treatment day, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to sit down and capture the process. So like I said, I'll be using the MimiSilk Iris 1450nm skin renewing device. This is actually the anniversary edition. It's been lightly refreshed for sensitive users. I won't be going into too much detail here, but I've made a fully dedicated video all about the anniversary edition as well as the original Iris. I'll go ahead and link those above and put them in the description as well. I've also already made a fully detailed demo video. In case you missed it, I'll link that above also. So like I said, today's just going to be a quick video demonstrating how I like to use the Iris on the neck. It's a bit more of a precarious treatment area, so I understand why some people would like to see how it's done. So first off, we're going to turn the device on by holding down the power button. And then we're going to go ahead and select our power setting. So you can see here that the light is indicating that I'm already set on the highest level. You can easily cycle through those. Go ahead and select the level that's most comfortable for you. Next, we'll be selecting the treatment area. I like to select the cheeks mode because I find that's most conducive with the size of the neck. Okay, now that I've selected my intended area, we can go ahead and get started. Ergonomically speaking, I found that it's easiest to treat the neck by holding the iris upside down. It's easier to be able to drag the iris up and down as opposed to trying to push it up and down. There's a little bit more resistance when you're trying to push upward when the iris is upright. So just switch it around, and that way you can easily glide the laser in an upward mobility as well as a downward mobility. I like to do this row by row. However, I do like to do about 2 passes per row. For demonstrative purposes, I'll go ahead and show you what I mean with the laser off, and I'll also be using a mirror off camera so I can see what I'm doing. So just to demonstrate with the laser off, I like to start at the base and the side of the neck. I slowly drag upwards and then press downward, and I'll do 2 passes. And then I'll move on to a second row. I like to pull this all the way up to my jawline and then slowly retract back downwards towards the clavicle. And you're gonna go ahead and do that all the way from side to side. And now comes the trickier part, treating diagonally. I like to go ahead and hold tension on the side of my neck just to make sure that the laser's not dragging or catching. I do still go ahead and do 2 passes per row all the way up to my submental area. So again, we're gonna be starting at the base and the side of the neck. We're gonna be moving our way all the way to the middle of the neck, and that's gonna complete 1 out of the 2 cheek settings. The laser will automatically beep, letting you know that you've already treated 1 cheek, and then it will move on to the other side of the neck. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we've gone ahead and done 2 passes in each column, all the way from the side of the neck to the middle of the neck. Treating over the middle of the neck might be a little bit more precarious for males as opposed to females, just because we do come with Adam's apples, so it might be a little harder to glide the laser over those areas. Just a quick important note, I did get clearance from my medical professional to be able to go ahead and treat over my thyroid, although that's an area that many providers will stay away from based on the device that they're using. And for safety reasons, MimiSilk does advise not treating over the thyroid. I just wanted to point that out because you will see me treating over my thyroid in this video because again, as I said, I did get clearance to do so. And with that, let's get back to the video. I usually find that treating the neck will take a little bit more patience and a collaboration between using your hands, using the laser, and also repositioning your head and neck in various degrees. But once you get it down, it's really easy and you can get a perfectly thorough treatment. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get started on doing my diagonal passes. So we're gonna go ahead and hold and create tension on the side of the neck just to make sure that it's an easier glide for the laser. And then we'll go ahead and start at the base around the clavicle and work our way up to about the submental area. Okay, and that's how it's done. It makes it a lot easier when you hold tension on the side of the neck. However, if you're a little bit older and you have more laxity, you might find it easier to hold tension with the neck, and instead of pushing in the direction and then retracting, just go ahead and drag it away from your fingers, lift up, and do a secondary pass. It's a lot easier to pull the iris away from the tension point than it is to push it towards. So at this point, I still have a little bit more time left on my first cheek, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more passes and treat on some more concentrated areas where I have more lines, such as the tech neck bands and the lines around my clavicle area. Okay, for those passes, you might have noticed that I actually held the iris upright. It's really all about what works best for you, but I find that trying different combinations until you hit your stride is best. Typically, the iris is very easy to glide over all areas, but sometimes if you're hitting a snag, repositioning how you're holding the device can make a world of difference. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do some more passes diagonally. And I'll go ahead and show you the double drag technique. So go ahead and start by creating your tension point on the side of the neck, place the iris near the tension point, and then drag away. Easy, and you don't lose contact. Okay, so I heard the two-step beep indicating to me that it's time to switch sides. One important thing to note is that when you're training yourself on any particular area, we tend to go a little bit slower until we get the motion and the cadence down. And I just wanted to remind you guys that if you're going too slow, the iris automatically won't fire, and this is to keep your skin safe. If the iris is placed stationary over the skin, it's not just gonna keep firing because that could cause damage. So just know that if you're doing the neck and you're going slowly until you get your rhythm down, if the iris is not firing, it may be because you're going a little bit too slow. So the key is finding a balance between being slow and going too fast. But trust me, once you get it down, it's like second nature. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on the second side. So we're still on the cheek setting, and you can start your second cycle for the cheek by just pressing the button here. Okay, and directly going over the middle here, I'm just repositioning my hand. I'm still with the iris being upside down, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start at the clavicle and bring it all the way up to my submental and drag it back down, making sure not to go too slow so the iris doesn't stop firing, but don't go too quickly, especially if you're male and you have an Adam's apple. If you go too quickly, the laser can skip over those areas. Okay, for some reason, I'm finding it a lot easier to hold the iris right side up for this particular area. It's just the way that the ergonomics of the neck work as well as the way your hand is placed. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch it up to the right side up because I'm keeping better connectivity that way. And again, these are all these little things that you're gonna learn as you're working your way through the neck as well. Okay, so we kept about 90% connectivity. It was really just when I was going over the Adam's apple that it started to lose connectivity and skip around just a little bit. So you can take a little bit more extra time to go over the Adam's apple specifically if that's an area that really bothers you. Now we're gonna go ahead and do our right side diagonally. So because I'm right-handed, I'm still gonna be using the iris with my right hand. I'm gonna go ahead and create my tension points with my left hand. Because of this, I'm gonna go ahead and do my drag away technique that I taught you for the left side of the neck. It's a little too hard to press the iris towards my left hand while I'm holding the right side of my neck in place. So this is a perfect opportunity to get comfortable doing your drag away technique. Okay, so I'm about halfway done with the right side of my neck. One thing I want to point out, if you're not doing the back and forth technique and you're doing the pull away technique, as I've been saying, just remember that when you're doing back and forth, that's technically 2 passes, and I do that twice. So technically I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4 passes. So just remember when you're doing the drag away technique, we're obviously only doing 1 pass when we're pulling away. So you want to do that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm done doing it diagonally, so I'm gonna go ahead and do an extra pass vertically. I find on this side, it's best to hold the iris upside down because I'm still using my right hand, and there's a shorter pinch distance between my elbow, my shoulder, my neck, and the iris. Okay, so now that I'm pretty much done, I'm gonna go ahead and take whatever remaining time I have on this second cycle and go over some of the lines that bother me most. Okay, and I'm done, but because I didn't finish the right side of these lines, I'm gonna go ahead and select another cycle just to kind of finish up going over the right side of this line. Okay, and we're done. You can clearly see how red I am by the demarcation from the areas I treated as opposed to areas I didn't treat. That redness doesn't last too long and there's little to no pain. It's just a mild stinging and heat sensation that dissipates fairly quickly. So usually at this time I'd be moving on to my face. However, I did my face last night and I like to alternate at times doing my face one night and my neck the next. And after doing my treatment, I like to follow it up with MimiSilk's PDRN post-treatment masks. These little guys are chocked full of ingredients that are gonna help to expedite healing, reduce inflammation, and also help to take down some of the redness. I did a deep dive on these masks as well as all the key ingredients in the video that I made for MimiSilk's 12th anniversary. It features the updated Iris, the Vera, their radio frequency skin sculpting and tightening machine, as well as the PDRN masks. So if you're interested in learning more about these little babies, I would check that video out. I'll link it above and put it in the description as well. What I love about these masks is that they're actually divided into upper and lower face applications. This makes it a lot easier to fit any face shape and size. They're double-sided glazed and infused with all of the ingredients, and the reason I mention that is because one of the sides is going to be a little bit more gripping than the other. I personally find that the gripping is great when you are going about the house and you're not in a downward position. If you want to be upright and moving around, I find that the gripped side, which is a little bit ribbed, is more gripping so that the mask doesn't slide off the face as you're walking about the house. But if you're going to lay down and rest, you can do the smooth side. I'm going to be laying down and resting as it's technically my day off, so I'm going to go ahead and do the smooth side. Boo! I really like how customizable these masks are. There's nothing worse than having a mask that doesn't really fit your face because if it's not touching the skin, it's not delivering the nutrients. But more importantly, I really like how my skin looks after they're done. You do leave them on for about 30 to 40 minutes. You can leave them on longer if you choose to. But when I tell you that these masks really help to mitigate the redness post-laser, I'm not kidding. It was really funny because the first time that I actually used one of these masks, I accidentally didn't connect the cheeks all the way to the bridge of the nose. And so there was just two open areas where my skin was left bare with no mask covering it. When I took the mask off, there was just 2 strips of red because they hadn't been exposed to the ingredients within the mask. It was a little interesting and kind of exciting to see the difference between the untreated area with the mask as opposed to all of the rest of the skin. The untreated area stayed red, visibly inflamed for a little bit longer than the rest of my face. So I quickly squeezed every last little drop of serum out of the sachet so I could apply it over the nasolabial fold area. And luckily, after about 20 to 30 minutes, it started to really calm down and look like the rest of my face. So if you're interested in masks and like top tier skincare, especially things that are formulated for post-aesthetic treatments such as laser, you might want to check these out. And of course, if you want to save a little bit of money on all things MimiSilk, I'll leave my discount code and link below. So I really hope this demonstration was helpful. If you have any questions whatsoever, obviously leave them in the comments below. I will get to each and every one of you as soon as I possibly can. Okay guys, see you in the next one. And again, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 passes per row all the way up to my mental. All the way up to my mental? My mental? Who the f says that?